What's your biggest regret from your teenage years? So determined to impress my classmates that I would stretch the truth so I could brag about myself. Now I realize most of them saw through it. If I could only go back, I would slap some duct tape across younger me's mouth. At least you, hopefully, left that behind in your teenage years. Lot of adults out here still trying this cringe move, and while it's embarrassing at 15, it's just deeply sad at 35. I spent so much time waiting for something to happen. Like sitting on some steps outside of a house waiting for something to happen. Hanging out with people I did not really like waiting for something to happen. I feel like so much time was wasted waiting for something to happen, instead of doing something or making things happen. What are you waiting for, kid? I dunno. Something amazing to happen. Me too, kid. I didn't stand up for myself enough. I'm still too worried about how people will react if I say no or refuse to do something. I'm 20, and I wish I lived more of my life not caring what others think of me. I don't like getting in confrontation, so I'll often just tell people what they want to hear. The problem is that if you make a habit of doing it, people will just expect to hear what they want every time. I'm like that too. I can't stand confrontations, but I can't keep letting this happen. Thank you for your reply. It's nice to know I'm not alone with this issue. I hope we can get better at this. Cowardice. I was so unsure of myself and awkward. I know that all teenagers struggle with this, but as I look back now from my 40s, that kid in high school had so much going for him. He just didn't know it. The more he cared about fitting in, the less he fit in, and the worse people treated him. Girls were like an alien species and the future was terrifying. But it didn't have to be. I can totally relate. I'm barely out of my teenage years, but I specifically really regret that I turned down romantic relationships. I was such a coward about it. I cared more about how people would perceive me dating someone than actually dating that person. If that makes sense. I wish I hadn't cared about what people thought and just given those relationships a chance. I can also relate. I got a girlfriend somehow. Never asked her out cause I was nervous, but it just kinda happened. Dated for like 6 months and somehow never kissed her. I think I hugged her and held her hand a few times. I was 17. I cringe a lot when I think about it, but I was just so anxious about social stuff I was too scared to do anything. Obviously she was as well. There's no way she wouldn't make that move if she wasn't same as you. Caring about what people think of me too much. I spent the entire time basically being who I thought everyone else wanted me to be. Interesting. So did you change? Are you the person you want to be? Absolutely. I stopped caring what others thought and just started being myself. I found a dorky husband who is just as authentic to who he is. Copying my response from a previous thread. I wore a fedora to prom, and prior to prom I had asked someone out and took the rejection really badly. Said a lot of stupid shit on social media and acted out when asked about it. Also, back when it was a thing to add random people on FB, I used to post all sorts of corny, white knight one-liners. Yeah, I'm glad social media wasn't really a thing when I was in high school. We had MySpace, but it was nothing like today. As a wise woman once said, I wasted all my thin years thinking I was fat. I have never related to anything as much as this. I used to actually fucking cry cause I was gaining weight when I was a teenager that was still growing up. I wish I had taken more risks. I worried about getting in trouble too much. I missed out on some fun because of that, and tried to play catch up when I was 19, which led to me going a bit too hard through my 20s. I'm okay now, successful and doing well, but there's lots of things I did in my 20s that I might not have done had I got it out of my system in my teens. I'm just lucky things turned out okay for me. 31 now. I worried about getting in trouble too much. Yeah, this was me as well. I was terrified of authority. It probably came from being bullied by my older brother and being scared of getting beat. This is what I came here for. I am 26 now and doing better, but took 1924 to realize I was wasting my life away. This programming stuff is cool, maybe I'll learn it one day. 10 years later I'm just getting started. Man, if I had 10 years of experience under my belt right now I would be set for life. The best moment to start was 10 years ago. The second best is today. Godspeed to you. Good for you for getting into it. I am currently a junior in college going for Comp C with a focus in cybersecurity. I was previously a business major, but since switching I have become super excited about the field because of the growth and opportunities available. All the responsible people on this thread wanted to be more irresponsible and all the irresponsible people wanted to be more responsible. The grass is always greener on the other side. I don't think anyone had enjoyed their teenage years enough to never regret parts of it. It's an unwritten rule to cringe at the teenage years. When I was 14 I poured ketchup on our back porch and lay down with my head next to it right as my mom came home from work. She came outside screaming and I laughed. She beat me with her shoe and I was grounded for the weekend. Now that I'm a parent I realize what a real dick fucking move it was and the terror she felt. I used to hide from my mom when we were shopping, especially in clothing stores where I could hide in the clothing racks. Apparently I just thought it was so funny to watch her freak out looking for me. I also look back and think I was a real dick. At one time, I used to do this to my wife. She wouldn't freak out because I'm too big to kidnap, too ugly to traffic and no ransom would be worth keeping me around. But she'd tell me to knock it off. I had to stop doing it when we had a kid because our daughter thought it was funny but any fears of her being taken were more valid. I love how mid-sentence you roasted the fuck out of yourself. The truth isn't always pleasant. That I didn't spend more time with my parents before losing them. Mom when I was 19. Dad right before I turned 26. I'm sorry. That's so young. Hope you're coping okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm doing better these days. Took some time to grieve. Things changed when I thought about a quote from a TV show. If you mean something to someone, if you help someone, or love someone, if even a single person remembers you, then maybe you never really die at all. Now I try to share memories about my parents to the people in my life so that still live on in some way. That's lovely. I hope my kids will be the same way. Cliche, but I lost a lot of friends due to excessive online gaming. I kept refusing to go out with them and socializing in general. Plus when college hit I didn't know how to talk to people and how to make friends. Ongoing process. World of Warcraft. Going through this RN. Please let me know what steps helped you. I was having this problem for most of my life. I lost friends because I spent so much time playing video games to cope with shitty things going on in my life. The thing that finally saved me was when I acknowledged I was addicted and treated it as I would any other. For me, the game was TF2. I uninstalled it, and I uninstalled Steam. I was able to quit and it helped me so much. It got me into music, reading, and a lot more. I'm still dealing with the repercussions now. I lost a lot of friends from it. Being mean to my mom. If it's any consolation, I'm a mom of a teenager, and preparing myself for this inevitability. My teenager is not intentionally mean, but he is used to having adults around that talk some smack, and I give him some gentle shit as well. He gives some right back to me, and sometimes it comes out rather harsh. He still loves me though, so if I call him out for inappropriateness or the like, he will usually apologize. I just hope he doesn't get much more surly with me. The important part is treating him like an actual person and not treating him like a young kid. Eldest child in my family, so I could see this firsthand. When my parents treated my siblings like rational people growing up, they'd still be dicks but they'd be measured with their sass. When my parents treated them like little kids and ignored their feelings, they'd come back with 10 times the amount of sass or would rebel maliciously in more discreet ways. Still a teen, but I wish I focused less on isolating myself early on in high school and being a loner with a me versus them mentality. I've stunted myself socially and dug myself into a hole. To be fair, a lot of it stemmed from mental health issues and unresolved trauma, but I was also stubborn as hell and waited way too long to seek help and grow past all of it. I've stunted myself socially and dug myself into a hole. Can you describe this for us? I'm not sure what you mean by this. For me, I used to feel this way up until junior year of high school. I always found it hard to express my true thoughts and felt too nervous to correct people when they misunderstood me. So I just cut everyone off because I believed that no one could truly understand the real me. I just never stopped thinking that way and eventually found myself feeling so alone. I tried to make friends but also found that I had forgotten how to. It took me a lot of courage and time, but along the way I realized people are a lot more patient and understanding than I originally thought. The image of being trapped in a hole and not being able to climb out really captures how I felt. I didn't want to feel alone anymore or frustrated for doing that to myself. Had enough of beating myself down, so I got up on my feet and allowed people in. I think that was one of the happiest moments of my life. Junior year has a very special place in my heart. Thank you for watching and listening to my channel. Feel free to drop a comment and be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification button for the latest video I publish every day. See you on the next video, very Reddit fans.